All right, folks, let's talk nukes. It's not the most cheerful topic, but hey, someone's got to do it. Right now, a handful of countries are sitting on enough firepower to turn our planet into a disco ball. Think the US, Russia, China, the big players. But don't forget about the UK, France, India, Pakistan, Israel, and North Korea. They've got their fingers on the button too. Scary, right? It's like a global game of who has the biggest bomb, and nobody wins. The problem is, having all these weapons just sitting around is like leaving a loaded gun in a playground. Someone's bound to get hurt. And by hurt, I mean obliterated. We're talking about weapons that make Hiroshima and Nagasaki look like firecracker accidents. Not cool, guys, not cool at all. Not cool. So why are we all so on edge? Well, imagine living with your worst enemy, who also happens to have a nuclear arsenal. That's basically the situation with some of these countries. Take the US and Russia, for example. They've been locked in a tense standoff since the Cold War, like two grumpy old men arguing over the last slice of pizza. Except in this case, the pizza is the entire world. And it's not just old grudges we have to worry about. New technologies are popping up faster than you can say mutually assured destruction. We're talking hypersonic missiles, cyber warfare, AI-controlled drones. It's enough to make your head spin. The scariest part, these advancements make it easier to launch an attack, which means the chances of someone accidentally hitting the fire button just went up. Yikes. Okay, let's talk triggers. What could actually push us over the edge? Well, imagine a regional conflict spiraling out of control. Think India and Pakistan, two nuclear-armed neighbors with a history of tension. One wrong move, one miscalculation, and boom, things could escalate faster than you can say Kashmir. But it's not just traditional warfare we need to worry about. Cyber attacks are becoming increasingly sophisticated. Imagine someone hacking into a nuclear command system and launching a missile. Sounds like a bad sci-fi movie, right? Except this is real life, people, and the stakes couldn't be higher. We're talking about the potential for a digital apocalypse. All right, let's say the unthinkable happens. Someone actually pushes the button. What then? Well, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It ain't pretty. We're talking millions, maybe billions dead in the blink of an eye. Cities vaporized, entire countries turned to radioactive wasteland, and for the survivors, well, let's just say surviving a nuclear war is kind of like winning a pie-eating contest. You might technically be alive, but you're definitely not feeling good. But it's not just the immediate impact we have to worry about. Nuclear explosions release massive amounts of radiation into the atmosphere. This radiation can travel thousands of miles, contaminating water supplies, crops, and pretty much everything else. We're talking about long-term health problems, birth defects, cancer, basically a whole lot of suffering for generations to come. So how do we stop this madness? Well, for starters, we need to talk to each other. I know, talking is hard, but trust me, it's a lot easier than cleaning up after a nuclear war. We need to build trust, reduce tensions, and find ways to cooperate. Think of it like couples therapy, but for countries with really big weapons. And speaking of weapons, maybe it's time we got rid of some of them. I'm talking about arms control agreements, folks. These agreements limit the number of nuclear weapons countries can have, which is a good thing, because let's face it, who needs that many nukes anyway? It's like having 1,000 pairs of shoes. It's excessive, and nobody needs that much footwear. Section 6. Can't we all just get along? The power of talking. Remember what your kindergarten teacher taught you? Sharing is caring and hitting is wrong. Turns out those rules apply to nuclear weapons too. Diplomacy is key, people. It's like trying to explain to your roommate why they shouldn't leave their dirty socks on the floor. It takes patience, a bit of humor, and a willingness to listen. Instead of threatening each other with fiery doom, countries should be sitting down, sipping tea, or vodka depending on the country, and hashing things out. Sure, it's not as exciting as a missile launch, but it's definitely better for everyone's health. Section 7. The UN, like a referee for nuclear war. Let's give some love to the United Nations. They might not be perfect, but they're kind of like the hall monitor of the world, trying to keep things from going completely haywire. The UN sets rules, mediates disputes, and generally tries to prevent us from blowing each other up. They're like the exhausted parent at a children's birthday party trying to prevent a sugar-fueled meltdown. Think of their nuclear security resolutions as the ultimate play-nice rulebook. They might not always work, but hey, at least someone's trying to bring some sanity to this whole nuclear madness. Section 8. The importance of not blowing up the world. Seriously, look, I know this is a lot to take in. Nuclear war is a scary topic, but here's the thing, it's not inevitable. We have a choice. We can choose to be responsible, to work together, to build a safer world for ourselves and for future generations. Or we can choose to let fear and distrust rule the day, and well, we all know how that ends, so let's choose hope. Let's choose peace. Let's choose to leave this planet a little better than we found it, because, let's be honest, who wants to be responsible for ending the world? That's a lot of paperwork. Section 9, conclusion, let's not end up like the dinosaurs. So there you have it, folks, the lowdown on nuclear weapons. It's a messy, complicated issue, but one that we can't afford to ignore. The future of our planet depends on it. Let's not end up like the dinosaurs extinct because we couldn't get our act together. Let's choose peace, diplomacy, and a whole lot less talk about blowing each other up, because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. And by this, I mean this giant spinning ball of rock we call Earth. Let's not break it.